These are the New South Wales 442 class, or more commonly known as the Jumbos. These were built between 1970 and 1973 by A.E. Goodwin and Coming in Auburn, New South Wales, with 34 being built by A.E. Goodwin and 6 being built by Coming, bringing the total number to 40. Gosh dang it, 6 train. Anyways, when these locomotives were built, they signified the use of the Alco 12-cylinder 251C prime mover, outputting 2,150 horsepower. These were primarily operated by the NSW GR, or New South Wales Government Railways, hauling freight and passenger services. They were built to replace the 40 class locomotives dating back to the 1950s, as these locomotives were not able to be rebuilt to modern standards. The first locomotive was completed and brought in October 1970, but was later rejected due to rough riding on tracks. But thanks to modifications to the bogie design, they were able to return 5 months later. Later on, A.E. Goodwin was sold to Coming, who completed the last 6 locomotives and fitted them with Mitsubishi alternators. Throughout their service lives, they mainly operated on the mainline services across the state. Interestingly enough, around 1985, some units were fitted with V-line radios to allow them to operate services into Melbourne. Unfortunately, this ceased in 1987, and all the units that were equipped with the V-line radios were sent back to Melbourne to have their equipment removed. By the end of their lives, these locomotives were based out of Broadmeadow Locomotive Depot and mainly operated on the North Coast or Main North lines. With the arrival of the 82 class and the 90 class, it was almost time for these locomotives to go. Most of them started to become withdrawn from service, and by December of 1994, 19 were sold at an auction. But does this mark the end for these locomotives? Fortunately, no. 4 of these locomotives were sent to Silverton Rail, but unfortunately, Silverton Rail became defunct in 2010. 2 were sent to Austrac and were leased to BHP in Port Kembla. Freight Corp faced a locomotive shortage, which caused them to reinstate 6 442 class locomotives. After being used as shunters, they were withdrawn in 1998. All remaining locomotives were sold off to 2 companies, Great Northern Rail Services and Chicago Freight Car Leasing Australia, which is now known as Rail First Asset Management. Great Northern Rail overhauled 5 locomotives and designated them as JL classes, while Chicago Freight Car Leasing Australia contacted UGL Rail in Broadmeadow to remanufacture 12 units and give them brand new components. These were reclassified as GL classes and were completed between 2003 and 2004. These refurbishments involved them being completely stripped down and being rebuilt from the ground up, giving them new engines, new cabs, desktop controls, and more. The JLs have gotten their original fleet numbers back, and 2 were sold to the Southern Short Haul Railroad. The GL classes were leased to a variety of railroads such as Pacific National, Independence Rail of Australia, etc. 2 were given a Freightliner livery, and the rest retained their CFCLA silver and blue livery. As of now, 22 of these locomotives remain.